Imagine waking up tomorrow morning feeling completely normal. You grab your coffee, sit down in your favorite recliner, maybe flip on the morning news, and within minutes, your chest tightens and your left arm goes numb, and you can't catch your breath. A heart attack. Out of now here. Or so it seems. But here's what most doctors never got the chance to tell you. 50 for the majority of Americans. Heart attacks and strokes don't just happen. The warning signs were there, quietly building over months, even years, hidden inside everyday habits you assumed were completely harmless. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 daily habits that are silently damaging your heart and brain. Habits that tens of millions of Americans over 50 practice every single day without realizing the danger and more important lie. I'll show you exactly what you can do starting today to stop and reverse that damage. This is not fear-mongering. This is medical reality. My name is Dr. Sonam Bodke. I'm a cardiologist and lifestyle medicine physician, and I've spent over decades working specifically with adults over 50 on cardiovascular health. If that's your age group, or if you love someone in that age group, what I'm about to share could genuinely change everything. Stay with me. Habit 1: drinking coffee first thing on an empty stomach. For most Americans, the morning starts with coffee, often before eating anything, often as the very first thing that enters the body. It feels like a ritual. It feels necessary. But after 50, this habit can be quietly stressing your heart and digestive system every single morning. Here's what's actually happening inside your body when you drink coffee on an empty stomach. Caffeine stimulates your adrenal glands to release cortisol, your body's primary stress hormones. On an empty stomach, that cortisol spike is sharper and lasts longer. This raises your blood pressure, accelerates your heart rate, and places your cardiovascular system under significant stress before the day has even begun. Over time, this also promotes gut inflammation, and gut inflammation, we now know, is strongly linked to cardiovascular disease. Study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that regular morning cortisol spikes from caffeine on an empty stomach were associated with significantly higher rates of hypertension in adults over 50. I had a patient, retired teachers from Ohio, 57 years old, who had 2 to 3 large cups of black coffee every morning before eating anything. She felt fine. What she didn't know was that her blood pressure was spiking to dangerous levels every single day before 8 a.m. She had been doing this for over 20 years. The fix is simple. Eat something small before yours first cup: a handful of almonds, a banana, a slice of whole wheat toast. That one changes alone can meaningfully reduce your morning cardiovascular stress response. Habit 2: sitting for more than 6 hours a day without moving. We used to believe that as long as you exercised regularly, long periods of sitting were harmless. Medical science has since proven that belief dangerously wrong. Prolonged sitting is now classified by cardiologists as an independent risk factor for heart disease, meaning it harms your heart even if you work out. Research published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology showed that sitting for more than 6 hours a day was associated with a 34% higher risk of cardiovascular death in adults over 50, even among those who exercised regularly. Why? Because prolonged sitting dramatically slows blood flows through your lower body. Blood begins to pool in the veins. Clot risk goes up. Your body's fat-burning enzymes essentially shut off after just 30 minutes of sitting. Blood sugar rises unchecked, and critical for arterial flexibility. Healthy blood pressure decreases with every extra hours you remain seated. For many retired or work from home Americans over 50, the daily routine involves hours of sitting watching TV, scrolling on a phone, working at a desk, without structured movement breaks. This quietly creates the perfect internal environment for cardiovascular disease. The solution isn't a gym membership. It's simply movement every 45 to 60 minutes. Stand up, walk to the kitchen, do 10 slow body weight squats, pace around the room for 3 minutes. That brief interruption restores blood flow and revitalizes your metabolism in ways that genuinely matter. Habit 3: ignoring or pushing through chronic emotional stress. In American culture, especially for adults over 50, there is a deeply ingrained tendency to push through stress silently. Financial pressure, worry about children or grandchildren, relationship strain, grief, career transitions. These are absorbed internally, rarely spoken about, and almost never addressed medically. The culture of pushing through is quietly damaging hearts across this country. Chronic psychological stress keeps cortisol and adrenaline elevated for extended periods. These hormones continuously raise blood pressure, increased blood clotting factors, and drive arterial inflammation, three of the most direct pathways to heart attacks and strokes. Landmark study from Harvard Medical School, followed by over 200,000 adults for decades. The results were striking. People with chronic, unmanaged stress had more than doubled the risk of heart attacks compared to those with effective stress management, regardless of all others. Lifestyle factors. Ahavi sat with patients who had normal cholesterol, no blood pressure history, no smoking history, and still suffered heart attacks in their late 50s. When we traced the timeline, nearly every case had one thing in common. The 2 years before the attack had been filled with extremes, unaddressed emotional stress. Stress management is not a luxury, it is medicine. Whether that looks like walking idly, a consistent prayer practice, deep breathing exercises, talking with a trusted friend, or working with a therapist, your heart depends on it's just as much as your diet does. Habit 4: consuming too much sodium. Without realizing it, most people, when asked if they eat too much salt, say no, and they genuinely mean it. They're not reaching for the salt shakers. They don't think of themselves as someone who eats salty food, but the sodium isn't coming from the shaker. It's coming from canned soups, deli meats, frozen meals, fast food, restaurant entrees, salad dressings, bread and breakfast cereals, foods that define everyday American eating. The American Heart Association recommends less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day for adults, with an ideal target of under 1,500 mg for those over 50. The average American consumes over 3,400 milligrams daily, more than double what's considered safe for this age group. Excess sodium causes your blood vessels to retain water. This increases blood volume, which forces your heart to work harder with every single beat. Over years, this leads to hypertension, dangerous thickening of the heart muscles, and eventually heart failure. After 50, the kidneys become less efficient at filtering out excess sodium. This means the same amount of salt causes significantly more damage than it would have at 30. Start reading nutrition labels. Reduce processed and packaged foods gradually. Choose low-sodium options where available. Evening. A 30% reduction in daily sodium intaking can produce meaningful drops in blood pressure within just a few weeks. Habit 5: skipping annual health screenings. Because you feel fine, this may be the most quietly deadly habit of all. The most dangerous cardiovascular conditions: hypertension, high cholesterol, prediabetes, and even early-stage coronary artery disease, producing zero symptoms in their early stages. None. You feel completely fine, and that feeling of being fine becomes the exact reason people avoid getting checked. I feel great, doc. Why would I need tests? I hear this every single week, and every time, it concerns me deeply because I've seen how quickly that feeling of being fine can end. A study published in The Lancet found that among adults over 50 who suffered their first heart attack, more than 60% had no prior diagnosis of cardiovascular risk, not because they were healthy, but because they had never been tested. After 50, Your minimum annual screenings should include blood pressure, fasting blood glucose, HbA1c, a full lipid panel, kidney function labs, and a resting ECG. For anyone with a family history of heart disease, a stress test and echocardiogram are strongly recommended. Detection saves lives. It is not enough to feel healthy. You need to know your numbers. Your daily protective routine. Now that you understand the 5 habits quietly damaging your heart, here is a simple daily routine to begin protecting yourself starting today. Morning. Eat something small before your first cup of coffee. Even a few bites makes a difference. Every hour, stand up and move for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Set a phone reminder if you need to. Daily. Dedicate 15 to 20 minutes to stress relief, a walk, deep breathing, prayer, journaling, or conversation with Ariel, someone you trust. Every meal, be conscious of hidden sodium. Gradually reduce processed foods, canned soups, and fast food. Annually, schedule your health screenings. Know your blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol numbers. Don't guess. No, these are not extreme changes. They are small, consistent adjustments. But in cardiovascular medicine, consistency over time is everything. Let's quickly recap the 5 habits that silently damage your heart and brain after 50. Drinking coffee on an empty stomach every morning. Sitting for more than 6 hours a day without movement breaks. Ignoring or pushing through chronic emotional stress. Consuming excess sodium hidden in everyday American foods. Skipping annual health screenings because you feel fine. Each one alone is harmful. Together, they create conditions where heart attacks and stroke becomes not a matter of if but when. The truth is powerful, but it is also hopeful, because every single one of these habits is changeable. You don't need expensive medications or extreme diets. You need awareness, and you need to act on that awareness today, not next month. Your heart has been working for you every second of your life. It's time to start working for it. Before you go, I want to ask you to do 4 things. First, hit that subscribe button. Every week, I share clear, evidence-based health information specifically for adults over 50. Your doctor may not have time to cover in a 15-minute appointment. Second, give this video a like. It helps this message reach others who may be living with these habits right now without knowing the risk. Third, drop a comment below. Right, I'm making this change today. Your commitment might be exactly what someone else needs to take action. And fourth, share this video with someone you care about. A parent, a spouse, a sibling, a neighbor, a friend. You may never know whose life you protect. With a single sharing, your health is not an accident. It is a decision you make every single day. This is Dr. Sonam, bodke, and I'll see you in the next one.